A game that simply is not fun, unbalanced, has subpar administration, or has absurd difficulty is referred to as a trash game. The virtual reality game called Tower of Trial is in the trash game category. When it was released in Korea, Korean gamers got on the grind to conquer the game. It continued for 365 days a year and without meals or sleep. But after 3 years had passed, the gamers started to realize that it was an unbeatable game. The Gate Guardian is practically invincible. The Arctic temperature is -60°C, which could kill everyone within an hour. A labyrinth that exceeds 10,000 kilometers in size. The Tower of Trials was not built for fun. Rather, it was almost like torture for those who have played it. The game started declining, but there were still pros who didn't give up challenging this impossibly difficult game, as it was simply fun. The sense of accomplishment that came after researching unknown ways to conquer the tower and repeating it again and again until it became second nature to finally beat the level. Our protagonist felt that it was already enough after devoting himself for 11 years. The protagonist could not believe that he was able to clear the floor and thought of streaming his success. He then received an email thanking him for still playing and that a reboot update would commence after 12 hours. The protagonist did not expect that the owners would think of rebooting the game, as it was not a profitable game and did not really make sense. Even though the game is being rebooted, the protagonist does not plan on playing it as he is quitting his job as a streamer. People used to tell him that he should become a professional fighter. But for the protagonist, money is more important as of the moment. The protagonist started his mukbang stream, which was more preferred rather than his gaming streams. The mood changed for a moment, but the protagonist passed it off as a joke. The protagonist wanted to announce his retirement earlier, but planned to do it the next day. After finishing his mukbang stream, he momentarily went to bed, but immediately got back up as he had to upload his Tower of Trials clearing video. When he turned his computer on, he was confused about what he saw. It was someone's live stream about the Tower of Trials becoming reality. The protagonist notices the stream as the sign of beginnings in the Tower of Trials. Notification then popped in front of everyone, instructing them to clear the next floor of the tower within 90 days. If they fail, it will be the end of humanity. The protagonist realized how serious the situation was and composed himself. He knew that if the news were real, he would need to hurry and obtain a specific item. Even though the world might end, he could not contain the excitement in his heart. At Central City, people were in a panic after receiving the notification. Some planned to leave the city while others wanted to go to another county. To their dismay, the Tower of Trials was happening globally. The protagonist arrived at the entrance of the underground strip mall. He knew that now was his chance to strike. He remembered that the place had been selected as an external zone, which was the closest to him, as the whole country only had 30 of them. When the protagonist entered the event zone, he saw a couple of people who he immediately knew had played the beginning of the Tower of Trials. Everyone was glaring at each other, as expected in the game. The protagonist knew that the item had a limited quantity and obtaining 5 of them would be a miracle. A man called out the protagonist's name and asked if he really was Kang Jin-hyuk. The man was named Lee Jong-soo, a streamer with 500,000 subscribers on YouTube. Jin-hyuk presumably asked if it was time for Jong-soo's scheduled stream. Jong-soo knew how important the beginning of the Tower of Trials was and prioritized it over streaming. Jong-soo offered a partnership to Jin-hyuk in completing the event. But Jin-hyuk knew how Jong-soo's partnerships worked, as one of his friends used to work under him and suffered mentally before leaving the industry. When Jong-soo offered to renew Jin-hyuk's contract, Jin-hyuk headbutted him, causing him to lose his teeth. Jin-hyuk warned him not to address him as a friend and focused his attention on the upcoming event, as it was about to begin. A huge mangrove tree emerged from the pond, surprising and exciting everyone. Then they noticed the fruits hanging from the tree. Each of the ripening fruits enhanced strength, agility, health, and magic. Jin-hyuk knew the importance of these items for beginners, but his problem was that the tree only produced 4 fruits. Everyone immediately went after the fruits and started fighting each other. Jong-soo told Jin-hyuk that he had wasted his offer, which could have benefited them both. Jin-hyuk responded by telling him to shut up if he didn't know anything, as it wasn't yet the time. All of them crawled up the mangrove tree until one of them eventually managed to obtain the fruit and received an additional 3 points in agility after taking a bite. Most people didn't even know about the fruit. Those who had played the game a few times would only focus on obtaining the fruit. But for people like Jin Hyuk, who had no life, they enjoyed the sadistic and perverted process that followed. A vine suddenly moved from the tree and attacked the people who came for the fruit. They immediately retreated upon remembering that the tree would attack them. One person even died 50 times in the game. Jong-soo turned his back and wanted to retreat as well, but Jin Hyuk called him out and asked if he was about to give up. Jong-soo responded that he didn't want to die. Jin Hyuk confessed that the real prize of the event could only be obtained once all the fruit had been eaten. Jong-soo hesitated at first but realized the opportunity that lay ahead and asked Jin Hyuk about his plan. Jin Hyuk's plan was to distract the tree by charging at it from opposite sides simultaneously. Jin Hyuk then warned Jong-soo that if either of them hesitated, they would both die. Jong-soo reassured Jin Hyuk that he didn't need to worry, as he had played the game plenty of times as well. After giving the signal to initiate, Jin Hyuk immediately ran towards the tree. The mangrove tree attacked Jin Hyuk first, but he dodged it. He then looked for Jong-soo and realized that he hadn't charged in with him. Instead of getting angry, Jin Hyuk was glad that Jong-soo hadn't changed. Jin Hyuk dodged another attack from the tree, but this time he used Jong-soo as bait, making him the target of the missed attack. Jong-soo was immediately wrapped in tree vines and pleaded for help. Jin Hyuk responded that if he had a problem, he could take it to court with his lawyers. Jong-soo could only cry before meeting his end. Jin Hyuk memorized the distance and pattern of the mangrove tree's attacks and easily evaded them. The tree's vines clashed while attacking Jin Hyuk, causing it to injure itself and expose the core of the mangrove tree. Jin Hyuk picked up a broken piece of the tree and prepared to attack. The mangrove tree used the skill Vampiric Vines. Jin Hyuk knew that even a game addict like him couldn't dodge the attack. However, using the broken tree he had picked up, he deflected all of the tree's attacks. Although the tree appeared more powerful, Jin Hyuk knew there was no need to be scared since he had already fought the mangrove tree many times before. Jin Hyuk endured all of the mangrove tree's attacks. But as he was almost near the tree, a swarm of sleep butterflies emerged. Jin Hyuk immediately covered his face with his arm. Sleep butterflies are monsters who spread sleeping powder as a defense mechanism. It is easy to get done if you don't take countermeasures against breathing in the powder. Countering it is simple enough. Just by holding one's breath would suffice. Jin Hyuk was able to maneuver his way in against the sleep butterflies. When the core was wide open, he immediately stabbed it with the broken wood he was carrying. Using his left hand, he pushed the wood even further, thus slowly ending the mangrove tree's life. Jin Hyuk then received a notification that he was the first to defeat the mangrove tree. Jin Hyuk felt relieved and thankful, thinking that the excruciating amount of pattern and timing he researched would help him defeat the mangrove tree in real life. Jin Hyuk was asked by the system of his name so that his achievements will be recorded in the Hall of Fame. Jin Hyuk expected the system would ask his name. He responded for his information to be all confidential. Since he did not want the attention, Jin Hyuk absolutely refused to give his name, but the system will not accept complete confidentiality and give him the name unknown, and his face be censored while his voice will be changed. Jin Hyuk grabbed the item he was yearning for, the tree orb. If each fruit increases strength, agility, or magic by 3 points, the tree orb gives the user as much as 12 bonus points. If one obtains this item, it is pretty much considered leveling up 4 times. It is a cost-effective and broken item. After eating the tree orb and absorbing all of its essence, Jin Hyuk opened his status bar and saw that he had now obtained 12 points, but it was divided unevenly, giving vitality with 7 points as the highest and both strength and magic as the lowest with 5 points, thus making him the strongest level 1. An hour after the mangrove tree was cleared, people were in an uproar hearing of the news online. The comments were divided, but most of them were of disbelief, but their doubtful reactions disappeared once they saw the uploaded video. Their comments in the video were full of praise. Meanwhile, on his main account, Jin-hyuk received offers from multiple groups. He couldn't believe that everyone thought what he accomplished is amazing. Granted that it was not easy to beat at level 1, but Jin-hyuk thinks that it's not something to be surprised about. While thinking of the 1 billion offer, Jin-hyuk remembered his past, how he would skip meals just to save money to buy food for his mukbang streams. If the offer was given back in those days, Jin-hyuk would accept the offer in a heartbeat. But now, he does not plan on sharing his knowledge for 1 or even 10 billion won. For Jin-hyuk, the most important thing as of the moment would be information monopoly. The moment the game updated, the leaking mana from the Tower of Trials spread throughout Seoul. Even though it did not have a significant effect, there was one big change. It was that the artifacts outside of the tower became holy artifacts. Indeed, they were fake, since the artifacts of legends were within the tower. They were only replicas. Jin-hyuk was able to obtain information of the location of the most replicas, the National Museum of Korea. The National Museum of Korea was basically a treasure chest with countless artifacts stored within it. Jin-hyuk's problem is that he is not the only one aiming for the replicas. Unlike the Mangrove of Greed, which appeared in 7 locations, there is only one National Museum of Korea. Jin-hyuk already expects that former top players will be gathering in the location. Arriving at the museum, Jin-hyuk didn't expect for the location to be quiet, but was surprised when he saw a charred body of a man. Will Jin-hyuk be able to obtain any replicas? Find out next time.